Devotional. Let's begin by reading from the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 18. Those who are hot-tempered stir up strife, but those who are slow to anger calm contention. This week we've been looking at some of my devotions from my collection, According to Barclay, Reflections on Life in the Human Pack. And today I'd like to share with you Unflappable, or Barclay and the Goose. A flock of geese were feeding in the distance on the broad, grassy field. I parked the car and let out my two schnauzers to stretch and do, well, what dogs do best. Suddenly, a large gander charged across the field toward the dogs, flapping his wings menacingly and honking loudly. A goose attack is serious business. One blow from those wings can break bones. He first went after Braxton, who was little more than a puppy at the time. Fortunately, Braxton was quick enough to evade the attack, run one circle around the gander, and come yapping back to the car for refuge as fast as his little legs could carry him. Barclay stood still and watched this quietly. As the goose turned and charged at him, Barclay did not bark. He did not move. Barely a foot away, the goose stopped, beak outstretched, wings spread. They stood there facing one another several seconds, long seconds. And then, almost in slow motion, Barclay tipped his head to one side and then to the other. The goose, visibly nonplussed, settled back, folded his wings, and then slowly tipped his head to one side and then the other. Very slowly, both of them leaned forward, sniffed, touched noses, and then settled back. Barclay tipped his head to one side and then the other. The goose responded by tipping his head one way and the other. Respectfully, Barclay stepped forward, buried his nose in the goose's chest feathers, and sniffed deeply as the goose peered down at him. And Barclay stepped back, tipped his head one way and the other. The goose tipped his as well, this way and that way. Satisfied, Barclay turned and calmly trotted back to the car. The goose flapped once and honked farewell. True story. People fight about the silliest things. Any petty grievance gets turned into a titanic clash of wills and personalities. One unhappy person says something needlessly snippy or snide, and the other responds in annoyance or anger, and soon it escalates into a war of words and wills. Still other people get dragged into the mudslinging and are pressured to choose up sides. You'd think Christians would be immune to this. After all, we all know we should relinquish our selfish wills and forgive as generously as Christ has forgiven us. But church people are among the snippiest people, and church fights are among the most brutal there are. According to Barclay, if you remain unflappable, then it can't escalate into a flap. It's biblical. Those who are hot-tempered stir up strife, but those who are slow to anger calm contention. especially in these times when many of us may be cooped up with our loved ones, and sometimes we have to call them loved ones with quotation marks around that. Anger can be contagious, but so can calmness. If someone attacks you, don't attack them back. And pretty soon everything settles right back down. Life has enough challenges without creating unnecessary turmoil. You know, when you refuse to be drawn into a big flap, you sometimes find new friends in the most unlikely places. At least, that's how it looks to Barclay, and he should know. I wish you a blessed day ahead. Goodbye.